some Slack, I think in our Slack, but did you all, were you all able to connect with like your GTM teams?
On Slack only, and on the issue actually.
Yeah, same. Not in real time, but source feedback. I got one person to respond.
Do y'all, does anybody have like a regular sync still? Are those all been canceled, or is there?
We still have a regular sync.
Yeah, we're on like a 2-week cadence.
Okay.
Yeah, GitOps has been canceled now after the enablement.
Cool. So I'm just trying to catch up with the thread. So it looks like maybe platform on reInvent, CI/CD on Google Next, and GitOps on KubeCon. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
And vulnerability management was one of the, the features out of, we looked at 14.0. So I think, yeah, this is like, let's take the stuff from 14.0 and then maybe add a few more so that we can hit kind of different areas of press or give our PR team. This is kind of like input into our PR team to give them fodder to go out with.
And are we trying to hit 3 per stage?
Yeah, ideally there's just, 3, 3 items per stage. And then I think y'all made some good notes that, okay, we need to add manage. So I see manage in here. That's excellent. And integrations, we don't, well, actually we have some pretty exciting integrations. So we have
the Jira stuff is pretty good. There's a couple of things in integrations with VS Code that could be notable, but can I show what I did for SCM just to get some general feedback on it? And if someone hasn't done it, maybe that'll also kick them. I was going.
Certainly, if something shipped and a lot of people are using it, the MAU, that's another good measure. I don't know that any one of those needs to kind of be exclusive. I think it's a bit of an individual judgment call on just like what is your feeling based on, could be anecdotal, like you talk to customers and they're like really hyper excited about this. Or maybe not, which is okay. I think, for example, Cormac was saying like Epic boards is something that was asked for a long time. Now, depending on how it's asked for, maybe that means it's exciting or it's not, right? But usually our Terraform module, right? There was like a community module, but now it's officially supported. So that's the, that can be the line, yes or no, whether you can use the thing. For a lot of businesses. So I think that's a good one too. Right, so it takes a while. So if you look back over the past year and say, okay, like what started in the last year, but now is really like a full-fledged feature, what would be coming out of beta, right? Like if we were any other company and we started a beta program, a top 5 overall, maybe we can just,
We should reserve a spot for plan, but I'm going to have to go through and do some aggregating after this. Just go through the list of what's shipped in the last 12 months and rebucket that.
So maybe we can do like 5 minutes kind of like
this with that.
So this is exactly where this is headed to, is the idea that during the product keynote and then ideally during Sid's keynote as well, that there's some level of like an announcement that we make that then the press cares about that announcement. Again, really tough to do at GitLab because it's all been around for a while. So this is our attempt to head to that area, is to say like, these are the announcements of the event. And yeah, maybe it's some things that have been around for a while, but like now they're at a level of maturity. Now, there's reason to be excited about this. So that's kind of where it's coming from.
So I listed a few specific things, like 3 or 4 per each as key iterations, but I called them something overall. So we would have like one thing to call them. There's several key iterations aligned with Gitterly cluster, several that roll up to a research-based user experience. And I was thinking, like, I was shy on calling out UX as a bucket, except that actually that's super typical, right? Like Windows 11 or anybody who's rolling stuff out, they almost always have UX as one of their 3 things. And then they mention a laundry list of stuff that aligns to that.
Yeah, and that would help me with the plan stuff as well, because there are some things like Epic boards that people have been asking for years now, and they finally have, and that's great. But I think, you know, like the milestone burn-up charts, that was a 2, and that's helpful. And I was looking through features and, you know, actual monthly features that were released in a given month. I mean, that's
pretty much how everybody does a big launch. And in terms of the excitement level, that also, like, I went in thinking this is just a 2. I guess part of it is like, I feel like we're almost fixing something that's broken, and that's not something you want to shout from the rooftops about. But actually, some of that stuff's really cool. So I gave it a 3. Excitement level, I wasn't sure exactly where to place things, but I figured I wouldn't, like to Cindy's comment, have something that's a 1 here anyway. But the only way I could make sense of like the iterations was to bucket them as something. And so that's kind of how I came down on it. I don't know what everyone thinks about that.
Yeah, I like that.
To put everyone in the gym, or like convert the half cafeteria gym, you know, take away the big barrier between it so that we can have more room, and then take those carpets that have never been cleaned and just, you know, sit on them, and it'll be great.
Aside from the goofy name, I thought that, and of course we can't talk about any of it on YouTube, but man, that was like a really awesome look back at like, here's some wins and here's some exciting things that we've done. And so I think we just need to get better at this.
Right competitors for that particular stage, right? So for example, for monitor, we may not have like a GitHub or something like that. We would have monitor-based competitors. Or wasn't that the understanding? Because
where they don't apply.
Yeah,
let's see.
I think it was copy pasted.
Yeah.
Each one of them has the same.
Yeah, so each sheet has ADO, Atlassian, GitHub, Jenkins, JFrog, and CloudBees, right? So
I thought we
that may not be relevant for monitor. For configure, it would be a different set of competitors that we need to include, which I think we already identified a while back. I think we identified top 3 competitors for every stage.
Yeah, we tiered them. That's when we tiered them, right? Tier 1, tier 2, tier 3.
Anything for that.
Yeah, for now, but then we'll move to tier 2 and tier 3. Then we'll look at those other
Okay,
competitors.
and
But
do
right
we
now
need to add a line item for GitLab as well? Because I think that's missing over here.
Yeah, we should add I think you asked me that before, right? Or someone asked me.
I'm just looking at it.
Brian asked.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, because the way.
For sure. Yeah.
Right. So
Mhm.
ideally, when we picked like the 10 to 15 features, some of those were like GitLab only, some of those were like GitLab didn't have.
Well, I thought it was supposed to be
Yes.
none of them should be GitLab only, right? It should be all through the lens of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it should be like market lens. So
Yeah.
in an ideal world, most of them are like, this is what I'm shopping for, this solution. Some of them might be GitLab only. Some of them might be like competitor only, so that somebody would look at it and be like, this looks honest and trustworthy and like a accurate assessment of the market.
Fair. Yeah, it's fair. Yeah.
And then, I think, Samia, for this, just to kind of reiterate, for this one, we're only doing these 5 competitors. So we'll do the other ones in a later stage. And then for if the vendor bills themselves as a platform, then we should specifically call out that they have 0. So GitHub bills itself as a platform, it sells itself that way. Same with Azure DevOps, same with JFrog.
Well, they all do for tier 1 except Jenkins and CloudBees. Yeah.
Yeah, Jenkins CloudBees does not.
Yeah, right.
But what is it? Azure DevOps, GitHub, Atlassian, and although Atlassian's, we still need to figure something out there.
As a matter of fact, did I go back and add Atlassian because I wanted to take them off completely and just leave them as a partner, but we can't do that.
So yeah, so for those platform, we should call out the fact that they don't have any monitoring. If they have like 0 out of 15, we should call that out. Same with configure stuff.
Further, it'd be good to even describe it in a way that doesn't just say our product stage and use like a value-based description of what monitor and configure mean, because otherwise we're just, no, that's not going to do any good for us.
Have you guys seen the new infographic that the design team is?
Or you can throw it in the notes if you find it.
Let's see who can find it faster.
I can guarantee you not with the amount of tabs I have open.
Oh my God, that's why I'm like, it probably won't be me.
So this is why I send everything to a Google Gmail, because it would have been like a whole nother layer of, okay, if we don't go with just the GitLab stages, the 10 stages, what do we use? That has to be determined, reconciled, all this kind of stuff. Like we kind of, I don't know how long it's been since we updated. Those pages have like not been updated, but we kind of are just trying to move towards some progress. So I concur that maybe configure and monitor is not as descriptive as it could be, but the place where it will. So actually, I'll share one thing. Right? This, like, we're separating like presentation layer from data layer. So it's not going to be as hard to update in the future as it currently is, where it's a mess of spaghetti code and it's like really, really difficult to update. And then the other component is then not in this iteration, we need to get something live, but the heck a verify is, or what the heck a manage is.
Okay, so we will have an opportunity, because I was about to say, you're going to hate me for this, but like we're being cyclical about the same problem we had, which being the audience coming in and not knowing anything about these specific stages. That was a problem.
That was one of the big things. It's like, okay, 15 features. What are they? Why do I care?
So they're playing better.
Yeah.
Like,
that means, to say that means nothing to me looking at this page. But quick question.
I'm not gonna be a Debbie Downer. That's it.
No, we're on top of it. I actually, if you read the thread, I brought that up, but she said we can't do it like right now, which I understand. But small thing. What do you guys think about the colors?
I don't know. I usually let the designers handle that stuff. They
I like the fact that there's no red on there.
You like that? That's what I was going for. You like that? Okay.
It's not obviously negative. So we're saying, because it really does lend itself to being a comparison more than a competitive piece because of that, because there's no good. And I think that I think that lends itself to working with all the co-opetition situations we're talking about.
Yeah, that's the goal. Is we want to generate a helpful asset for the industry. This is not just like marketing shill. This should be like a helpful page. So it's the goal is to have a comparison comparing DevOps tools, not a